Hi, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. My name is Stephanie, and I work for the Peace Studio for the 100 Offerings campaign. And today I'm super excited to be hosting this webinar as part of our co-commission with Rattlestick Playwrights Theater. Daniella, here you go.
Hi, I'm Daniella Topol. I'm the Artistic Director of Rattlestick Playwrights Theater, and we're usually located in the West Village in Manhattan, but now we're located very much online, doing a series of online programs to provoke conversation, inspire empathy, look at the intersectionality of art making and community gathering. And it is such an honor to have you spend time with these three incredible artists. So I'm going to turn things over to Chris Woolfolk, and he will walk you through everything and introduce himself.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Christopher Woolfolk, or Chris Woolfolk. I'm a native of Detroit, Michigan. I'm a graduate of Wayne State University. I attained a Bachelor of Science in Dance Education. I'm an educator, a dancer, a choreographer. I'm the co-creator for the Reclaim Detroit project, or the Reclaim series. We're still building that. We're honored to be able to present here. My co-creator is Taraji Omar. I'm going to let her introduce herself. Unmute yourself.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Taraji Omar. I was born and raised in Detroit. I have training in dance of ballet, tap, jazz, a lot of different genres and styles here in Southfield, Michigan and Detroit, Michigan. Also, I did undergrad at Wayne State University. I'm an artist, educator, dance instructor, choreographer, and also I dance for Body Rhythms Dance Theater. And also a co-creator in Reclaim Detroit project, which started in May of 2019. So, yeah.
Okay, and now we're going to have Juan Michael Porter.
The second. Hi, everyone. I'm grinning like such a crazy person because I'm so proud to be a part of this. I have lived in New York for the past 20 years, if you can believe it, and I'm honored to be on this program with you all. I'm a playwright, a dancer, choreographer, educator, and this is actually my return to writing this project. I'm a journalist now, but I haven't written for the stage in over 5 years, and it feels incredible to lend my thoughts to the artistic voice of Taraji and Chris, so thank you.
Okay, that's a good intro to us presenting our offering. So we can stream our offering now.
Reclaim, resolve, reconnect, reimagine, reorganize, redeem, remember, receive. A rap on grace as we enter the space to take our place among the people who were here before us. I see a beautiful black woman dancing with the ancestors beneath God's blue sky. I see the arm of a black man cast in bronze, piercing through a pyramid, protecting his sister, demanding that when she dances, she does so in peace, without worry that we will be cut down. I came here alone and found my family writ large in fellowship, with bonds deeper than blood. A stranger came to us, but we refused to fear him because we belong here. We have always belonged. But this man, he asked us, "Do you know what's good?" And we told him, "We thought so, but we're always happy to hear something new." He started to tell us about the land we were standing on, that he had discovered it, forgetting and erasing that we were already here long before he arrived. We were wrong, he said. He'd found this place, and now that we were on it, he'd found us too. Have you ever heard a black person say, "I claim you, we claim you"? That's our way of saying that we see you as family. You are our blood. It's a mark of love. It's a mark of communion. But this man, he told us that he claimed us, and now he owned us. He claimed us and he named us, and we would bear those names and swallow them and pass them on to our children as if they were the word of God. The funny thing is, we almost believed him, but then we remembered who we were. We looked at each other and we saw our families in each other's eyes. The family who had died so that we could reclaim our true names. It's a sad story, but you need to learn it now. If you don't know your history, someone else will sell it to you and tell you to thank them for saving you from yourself. If you don't know your history, someone else will sell it to you and tell you to thank them for saving you from yourself. If you don't know your own history, someone else will sell it to you and tell you to thank them for saving you from yourself. Reconnecting to our past, we burst through and rejected his claims. We started to dance to the music of the world that only we could hear. The voices of our ancestors redeeming us and breaking through the colonization that they died to protect us from. Reclaiming their time, we stepped into freedom through movement and reimagined how joy could feel. We are their dreams, reborn without shackles. We bear their truths as we move in power through space, spontaneously for no other reason than it is joyful and liberating and therefore right. Reconnect, Taraji. Reimagine, Christopher. Reorganize, Taraji. Redeem, Christopher. Remember, Taraji. Receive, Christopher. Reclaim. There is magic here. The magic that comes from seeing a black man and black woman dance in a colonized space, and the connection we can all feel as they commune with and are inspired by the past. The pleasure that their brilliance transmits onto those who are watching as you are watching now. Yes, you do not turn away. You see us and we see you. Reject fear. You are safe here. Reject fear. You are safe here. But know that your watching is not a passive act of engagement. It is a declaration of complicit agreement. You are either our allies and accomplices or purveyors of oppressive systems. Do you sit back and watch, or do you join in and follow the lead of this black woman and this black man as they break through the barriers of oppression that you cannot see, but that limit and define our possibilities from the moment that we are born by declaring our neighborhoods red-line districts with depressed property values that we toil our lives away in without ever getting ahead, that push us into career paths and choke us on exhaust, all the while telling us that we deserve whatever we get because we didn't play the game the white way or embrace the white way of living. We cannot take pleasure in black beauty without embracing the measure of what it means to live and die black. Get off of our necks. You are either exploiting the descendants of the slaves who built this land or toiling alongside us to break down what holds us back, even if doing so means dismantling the very structures that allow you to prosper or the walls that hold up your own homes. We acknowledge the ancestors who built this land without being allowed to prosper off of the fruits of their own labor. We are the children and grandchildren of kidnapped Africans who were brought here to work on stolen lands. We sever our own ties to sustaining oppressive practices by following a black woman's body and a black man's voice into unknown territory and accepting that this is progress precisely because it is new, uncomfortable, and iconoclastic. This is our peace and your opportunity to discover new ways in expressing joys without burden or shame. Leave your shackles behind as we left ours long ago. But do not abuse us and our gifts. Receive them, Reimagine yourselves and do better. Now, reach up to the sky and join us as we reclaim what was always ours. Reclaim, resolve, reconnect, reimagine, reorganize, redeem, remember. Reclaim, resolve, reconnect, reimagine, reorganize, redeem, remember, receive. 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 They tried to claim us, forgetting that we already had names. Receive them in our ancestors' memory. Peace.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. It's a little bit of lag on my end, but it's still, the power still resonate through it. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the process of it. Clearly this is a collaboration, so let's talk about the collaboration. Like as far as us collaborating with each other. I'll let Taraji go first with that.
Yeah, so Juan contacted me. Well, actually, before we had been, me and you contacted Juan to consult us in our project because we wanted to, take it to the next level or whatnot. And I guess through that conversation, Juan contacted me with this lovely opportunity to do this commission. I had already worked with Juan before, with many times when I lived in New York. So we knew each other there, and then from our consultation, I introduced you two. So it was that's kind of how it came along. Is that Juan gratefully thought of us to I guess to from what his view was, I guess, was thought of us to engage participate in this peace offering from what he his experiences and things. If you want to I guess
Sure, I'll tag in. So first, it actually for me started with Jose Solis, who's my brother in the arts and is amazing. And if you don't know him, you should follow him because he's brilliant. Jose invited me to be on this panel that Daniella was putting together around BIPOC theater critics or critics of the arts. And from that experience, Daniella was like, oh, can I talk to you about an opportunity? And I was like, sure. So she called me and we had a chat and we set the whole thing down basically. And from there, I contacted Taraji and Chris because I had this idea that I would focus on abuse that was being done to people. And I thought, there's something else that I need to talk about actually. And it was that conversation, that consultation I had with you two that made me realize that you were giving a way forward for people and actually doing the work of going into communities and decolonizing the harm that had been done. And I thought as a peace offering that would be huge. And as you mentioned, we've worked together years ago when you were here in New York many times. And I knew that it would come together like that. And after speaking to Chris and how he was laying things down, so I thought, okay, yeah, this is the thing. Originally, it was just going to be Taraji dancing. And I think that when you two were recording the video, you took video of you dancing by yourself and video of Chris dancing with you. And when I saw that, it completely changed the piece, actually. It went from being just about Taraji as the presence to it being a Black man and a Black woman. And I'm going to stop talking in a second, but I want to say that was essential to me, because we get into this divisive game of, oh, Black men take all the credit, or Black women take all the credit. And it's like, well, no, actually all of us are in this together, and that's the way forward. And you guys showed that.
So for me, this was my first time working with Juan. I have been working with Taraji. We met each other in college. So it's been 11 years now. And we've been dancing that body rhythm. I think you came on board in 2013 or, yeah. So we've been dancing with the same dance company for about 7 years, dancing and teaching there and choreographing. And we've been working on this project, our Reclaim project, since May of 2019. So this opportunity aligned with our mission and purpose of our project it goes into the organic movement of what we do. Is we let it happen because it's universal. It's already here. We just have to put it together and see it. And Juan saw it. Juan saw it. So we plugged in with Juan. Is when we spoke to him for the consultation. The consultation was about a few weeks before this opportunity came about, and like whenever he talked back about what we were doing, it was like, yes, like you get it, because everyone doesn't get it, like, and it's and that's a crucial part of this collaboration, that you have to get it, you have to be aligned to it, you have to understand it, you have to understand the purpose of it and the mission of it, and it's in this video you see how the energy of it is going. So with that, I want to go into the actual working of it, like the actual process. Like, how did you get these words, Juan, Taraji? Like you and I can talk about how, I'm gonna start off with Juan for that one, but we can talk about how we come up with our format for the score, our movement score. But Juan, I'm gonna let you talk about how you come up with the words. You came up with the words for this project.
Thank you. So it actually started, a lot of it came out of that consultation of the work that you've all been doing already. And I really want to put that forward, that because I'm a critic, a lot of times people give me credit for finding something as if when the people came over to America and they found the land, like it was already here. So for me, the work was already there. I saw your work, I saw the things that you were doing, and that's where the words came from. And it started with this idea of the evidence of things that are no longer seen. And how you all are reconnecting to that, the redeeming, the entire process of when you go into spaces and you're dancing like on a subway or at a building, which they do, by the way. They go and reclaim space and break down colonization. And that to me as a concept just tapped into the whole history of everything that was here beforehand. And Taraji and I, years ago, we'd been to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and we took her son, Mareen. This was 2.5 years ago, I think. And we were there at the Temple of Dindor, and Rahim is like loving it, connecting to like the people, the water, all this stuff. And this man came up to us and he said, oh, you guys should I know where he wants to go. He wants to go over there where there's this person in a costume, and he wants to go look at that. He doesn't want to look at all this stuff. And it was such violence to try to tell like Rahim what he wanted when clearly what he needed was history. And this costume character was from a cartoon that he didn't know, that had nothing to do with him. And that actually fed into the story of the man who tried to name us and tell us who we were. So much of this has come from our experiences, our lived experience, but also the work that you continue to do in teaching and connecting other people to what's real. So I do think that we get caught up on the day-to-day of survival, and we forget that there were people who were here before us trying to make a way of life. And I think that's what those words are, giving their voices, allowing their voices to be heard. Because I know that my words are not original. I know many people thought them before, but I don't know that they had the opportunity to say them.
Yeah, so I will say this part is that Taraji and I did the movement before Juan applied the words. I don't know if that was clear. So we did not have the words. We had keywords and base words that we had that we kind of it's ironic that the words were it aligned with words that we use for our project. We use this dichotomy of words, like to take the base word and this like the meaning of the base word, and when you put the re in front of it, it's like that word, like to repurpose, the purpose and to repurpose, or to align and realign, or to we have one project where we did search and research as we applied that to this pandemic as we're like searching for answers and or researching for new answers while we're searching for meaning and purpose during this time and the new ways of doing things. So we did not have all the words that Juan gave us, but we had our movement. So what people also don't understand is that we don't choreograph those movements. Like we allow the energy, our energy, and what's going on around us in our environment, and it's actually an improv. The whole thing is an improv, and then we're building off of that, and we can build a score off of that, but it's the base of it is improv because we believe in authentic movement and like just genuine flow, you know. So Taraji and I picked locations that we thought would be good for this project, and we picked the Joe Louis monument to Joe Louis at Hart Plaza, downtown Detroit, Michigan. Um, and I kicked on some Donald Byrd music. That's the music that you heard in there. And honestly, I did not know that Donald Byrd was from Detroit. I didn't know, and this keeps happening to me. Like, and this is I'm just going to be honest about it because people need to be honest about knowledge, how knowledge comes to you, and how it's universal. We don't knowledge is all over the place. That's why we choose to use the format that we use to allow things to come to us because it's only revealed like through your connection to it. So it just connected to us, and the way we moved in that last part, it was Joe Louis, the Fizz, Hart Plaza, Detroit, Donald Byrd, Taraji, Chris, and it just that's how that happened. I let Taraji piggyback off of that. And then also my mom was featured in the video. We were in my mom's backyard. So we wanted a little taste of Detroit residential in there too. But I let Taraji pick up.
Yeah, so I think what, yeah, because the movement that we recorded, like it's all improv, but it's improv just to signify that you can take whatever is in you already and apply it to redesign, reorganize everything like in your own body and create a different atmosphere. I feel like that's what we did in this video because as you can see, a lot of things were happening in the background. Like so many things were happening. Even while we were recording, like it could have been distracting, but if you like we took this to signify like us going into these spaces is that you can be a part of these spaces. You don't have to just be like you can actually be a factor. Like you're here, your body is here. It has a purpose and it has importance in the space. We everything had importance in the space, down to the structure, down to the people walking in the background, down to the you guys didn't see it, but somebody was doing a music video, down to that. Like it's all important. And so with our process is that we do the movement improv and we're just kind of we as he told you, like we've danced together for about 11 years, so we have that kind of connectivity, but also like we've done uh like projects with people just coming in off the street and we made like kind of a connection that way. So we also want to signify through the improv is that, yeah, you whatever you bring to the space is important, and also you can connect to others around you that you didn't even know. You build a community that way, and that's something that we are really behind, is using this project to not only just say, oh, we're decolonizing this space, but now we're creating a community to where we can be a force together. And so, yeah, a lot of things, like even taking, like, I knew about Donald Byrd, but then I knew, but I forgot I knew about that. Because I had a conversation with my dad and I was like, oh yeah, you did tell me that he went to Cass as well. So even like remembering, like re-imaging our memory, like it all kind of fell together. And that's kind of how this project does. Like you can do it in any space. Like it's history in any space. And it's just the work of like re-engaging that history and actually using it, and not just having it back here, but actually putting it forward.
And yeah, I want to say about you all, like you did have a movement base that you, like I had video of you doing the actual movement vocabulary. So like for people who don't know what improv is typically when you go in and you're making things up in the moment. And I think that happened, but I recognize the actual language that you all created. From the very beginning of like the eye here, under the chin, the arms, the backwards pencil turn, so much of that appears within it and becomes an actual recognizable movement score. So like, yes, it was definitely divinely inspired by what was going on, but you were actually pulling from language. And like for people who are non-dancers, I want to say that you can do that for yourselves. Like if you all take your hand up and hold it, that can mean something. And then you hold it to your heart, that means something else. And then reaching up to the sky, that means something. And you can repurpose that so that it goes from here to there to this, or from here to there. Like all of that means something, especially when you're watching people do it with the full intention as Taraji and Chris were, so that it's not just one simple sentence, it's an entire world of ideas. I'm gonna shut up now.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. Yeah, so the ending piece, like that was just kind of like we were in the space and that happened, but from that we were able to capture the things that resonated with us. Even this whole thing, like we were doing that a lot in the video, so obviously that's something that we had to do. So now this symbolized, oh, remembering. This is image. We did that. Now it's like, oh, re-imaging. So taking the things that we know and repurposing them. Okay, this is this symbol and these things, and you know, this is a symbol. And even reconnecting, like taking our knowledge that we know and now repurposing it to where we can use it, like how we use it in the beginning of the video, where it's slower and you can actually see like how it's deconstructed. Like, yeah. And everyone has the ability to do that, because we're all like, you know, it's like, you know, we're all always moving, and sometimes we don't remember, oh, this has a purpose. Like he was saying, oh, this actually has a purpose. And me standing up, that has a purpose. That's standing up. It can be in a vast interpretation, but that's a purpose, and that has an intention behind it.
One last thing, just as a dance critic, something that is very important to me is giving back the ownership of movement. For you, those of you who don't think you're dancers, you know you talk with your hands. We all do it. And like that has inspired so many people. Like I sat there with Taraji, we worked on a piece, and she asked me like, where did you get that movement from? And I was like, oh, I saw some woman on the bus, like talking on the phone, and that's where the movement came from. So you are a dancer, you are a mover, and your body language means something and inspires all of us. So like reclaim your place as a dancer and the purpose the dance has in your life. Now I'm gonna shut up.
Yeah, so I'm gonna piggyback off of that, because I always do tell people, like they're like, I can't dance, I can't do that, I couldn't possibly do that. I'm like, you can do this, like, and I also I reference the body. The body is doing a dance, the heartbeat, the lungs expanding, the walking, standing up, laying down, sitting down, standing up, sitting down, talking with your hands, like you're saying. But if you really want to see it, watch a child. Children, they claim it. They own that understanding that everything has a purpose. The littlest thing has a purpose. grabbing something and putting it to their mouth has a purpose. Like watch a child, and we try to. That's another part of our improv is to get back to that childlike energy when they're claiming the space and they're understanding that I feel like they're connected to the universe in a way that is beyond our sight. We grow out of that sight because we start getting distracted by the woes of the world. Like we have to move through this. We have to navigate through all these systems, and we disconnect from the universal system that and having that ownership in space and that purpose, that placement of being here. So what I guess I'm gonna do one more question before we go to a Q&A is what do you hope for people to take from this? What do you when people view this? What like I know this is a peace offering, but what do you want them to take from it?
I'll start because I like to talk, but I'll keep it really short. I hope that people understand that they can be inspired by things and step into that inspiration for themselves, and also give homage to what they saw. Like they don't have to claim something as their own idea. We didn't discover America, people lived here. You can see someone and actually say, wow, I got this from them and that was so beautiful and I'm going to share it with someone else.
Yeah, I same here. I also want people just to or and to investigate or create a questioning on like what your part is in these systems and like where do you stand, honestly say where do you stand and what practices will you engage in to create like restore and to sustain a future for everyone. Because even we have to decolonize our own minds in certain systems that we have set ourselves back from. So definitely, and to use movement to do that, because everybody moves, everybody has a movement, even someone who is paralyzed, like they can move their eyebrows, like that's movement. And to just use movement to re-inspire or to inspire an investigation on where you are in a space and how to use it to create a better future. And also invest in things like this. Like, I mean, this needs to happen and the talks need to happen in order for us to actually, first we need to talk about it, and then to make a plan to resolve and have a solution on how we can move forward.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of that and like let everyone know that like when I say that we were commissioned to create this, we are being paid to do this because Daniella and Stephanie and like they believe in us and they understand that in our own daily lives we have to feed ourselves and pay rent and all these other things. And so I think for a lot of people they think, oh, it's so nice that artist has done that thing for free. And it's like, no, this artist has done that thing because they believe in it, but also because it's work. And like Taraji said, if you see someone doing that work, invest in them, help them take it to the next level. Because if it affected you, imagine how it could affect the entire world, and especially the upcoming generation who doesn't necessarily have the tools who don't know how to put it together. I think that Chris and Taraji are the people who can help guide them. So yeah.
Okay, my hope is for people to take this idea of reflection and kind of reevaluating where they are. And that's like so important. We were speaking about this before we started broadcasting, is about realigning yourself or aligning yourself and understanding your purpose, understanding your contribution, understanding your reasoning for doing things, and finding the peace within that. Just to speak more about myself, I don't like talking about myself so much, but how complicated things are. Like so I work two jobs. I'm a social worker and I'm a pharmacy technician. Those are my two conventional jobs. And I do those things because I'm navigating through these systems that are placed on us. Like I have to eat, I have to I have to have shelter, I have to, I have to be sustain within these systems. But there's another sustainability, like with your mental health, your physical health. I want people to have that sustainability for themselves and understand what they need to do to have that sustainable lifestyle, to build a sustainable future for yourself. Like people don't understand how I do it. I have to do exactly what I'm saying, and I don't understand it fully, and I'm okay with understanding that I have to reevaluate that every day. Every so often, I have to check in, and sometimes I do get frustrated. But for the most part, I find a way to navigate through doing this unconventional job and doing what I want to do. This is my passion. This right here is what I want to do. I feel like I'm a beacon and a light to help people, get from one place of understanding to another place of understanding. My understanding isn't the highest understanding, and it's not the lowest understanding. It's just what I understand, and if I can use that to help another person, that's what I want to do. Through everything that I do, that's what I want to do. As an educator, as a social worker, even as a pharmacy technician, like I want to help people, So even my work, I didn't mention that I'm in a bar scene. Um, the reason why I'm so attracted to it is because I can help other people be more expressive and be creative and all those things. So we had a question. I think the first question actually came from Stephanie. Stephanie, do you actually want to say your question on the live?
Yeah, it's not from me. It was just sent to me privately. The question was, what practices are you all engaging in to ensure a future for all and to ensure and inspire and encourage progress? Which I think is a great question. It was sent anonymously. So whoever asked it, great question.
I think I just answered it, so I'll pass it over.
Repeat that question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course. I think it was because earlier we were speaking about these practices. So the question is, what practices are you all engaging in to ensure the future for all and ensure, inspire, and encourage progress?
I'll go. So I mentor a lot of people, and I help people develop their ideas and challenge them to take it further, because there are times like with Taraji and Chris, this thing is huge what they're doing. And pardon me for saying this, but I don't think you all realized how big it was until we had a consultancy that it could go much larger and reach beyond Detroit, so that it's now a series instead of just being only for Detroit. And like, yes, there's always going to be that aspect of like, this was homegrown literally in Detroit, but it's more for the world. It has an offering for the entire world. And as a journalist, I make a point of focusing on marginalized voices and reaching out to people and constantly saying like, hey, if you need someone to help get something out there that's being ignored, like reach out to me. I make myself very available for that. And maybe it doesn't feel like a lot, but I've been lucky to say that by being present and available, some of the most important things that I've ever written about have been because someone contacted me and said, I need to tell this story and people are ignoring it. Will you help me? So yeah, being open to people and then doing the work once they reach out to you to make sure that they're heard is my own individual.
Yeah, so I have a son, a 4-year-old son, and also I have a lot of nieces and nephews and cousins around, like children. And also, like, I've been working with children for like, I would say 12 plus years. So something that I feel like is progressing is to help progress is truly getting to the youth. Although, we're all youthful or whatever. But like actually getting to them to give them a different perspective. Not just, I wouldn't say mainstream, but like constantly we're bombarded with things on Instagram, Facebook, but we aren't bombarded with things that are truly like helping with like mental health and like sustainability or just healthy, like just moving in the body, because we all move, right? So like, how can I find a healthier way to move to where I can even, a lot of people don't even know this, but a lot of people don't even breathe like right. A lot of people do shallow breathing, like just like re-engaging them in their bodies so that they can have autonomy in how they even move through the space. A lot of us don't even have that. Like, I think, yeah, we were having a discussion earlier about like, oh, not feeling, good in our awkwardness or if we have it, but if you can know how to move in your own body and know how those things work, then you can definitely move with more purpose in the space, and you can fulfill your purpose and be more purposeful for with other people around you. So I think definitely investing in the youth truly helps. Is how we have been also doing, because we worked with this dance studio, Body Rhythm Dance Theater, and I work with a lot of dance studios around, 3D Dance Studio, DMX Dance Studio. Like I've worked with different, in some schools in New York, public schools in New York when I lived there. So truly investing in the youth to help them get an autonomy of the space, because they're going to be who's running things. They're going to be the doctors, the architects, the lawyers, the dancers, the performers. It doesn't matter what you do. Like movement truly helps, like the creativity inside, and also it gives you a different perspective when you know how to move your own body in the space.
Yeah, I will piggyback, even though I kind of answered this a little bit, but I want to answer it directly. Is while we Taraji hit the nail on the head for me, is like it's investing in the youth, and giving them the tools and the resources for them to envision sustainable future and understand like having autonomy and the ability to make decisions and own the space, you know, and to understand what's going on, but also while we are reaching out to the youth, we also reaching out to older generation and our peers, because many of us don't understand those things. We don't understand the autonomy that we have. Too often we are given permission. We are waiting for permission. We're waiting for validation. We hand our autonomy over to others, and it happens too often. Our bodies, like people don't understand that that we're using our body like I would hate to say that it is a tool. It is our home. It's our home for our spirit, our energy, and everything. But we use it every day, and some people don't think about taking care of their body. They don't think about taking care of their mental well-being. They're not thinking about those things. So I want to make sure that we're kind of focusing on those things, and that's why I think it's very important. We talked about that earlier. Also, is the importance of collaboration, because some people don't connect to this. They don't think that this is for them, and it's for everybody. It's for everyone. Me and Taraji, we had a pilot program. We did an arts identity culture summer intensive program, and a part of that component was a community talkback component. And we had a participant who said that I'm not creative. I'm not creative. I think creativity is reserved for those who are performance artists or spoken, or for artists. Like art is specific, and what came from that, and it was a beautiful moment, because what derived from it was that art is not specific to performance. Is we got into the art of botany, like growing plants, the art of the different arts of different things, like processing and
I'm sorry, this participant was a data analyst. So how can you not be
you're
creative?
creative.
You have to analyze things to figure out a solution for these big companies. Like that's creation. And a lot of times we put like being creative like in a box or anything. Like creation is literally so vast, it's infinite.
So to piggyback off what she's saying, I want us to unbox creativity and get into those base understandings, like critical thinking, like comprehension. Like those things are the things that composition. People are not thinking about creativity in those aspects, because it's not being offered to them in that aspect. And I feel like this is what we're doing with this, is offering them an unboxed version of creativity. Like this is the raw. These are the ingredients. Like we want you to see the ingredients so you can build it and make it the way that you want to design it. We want you to redesign it in your body, in your being, in your presence, in your purpose. Yeah. So there was another question here. Let me go to that, because I'll keep talking. I got it. Give me a moment. I'm working with this chat box. It's all over the place.
Like while you're working on that, if I could just sort of tap into a question that we had for our own session of like, what are things that people can do to get rid of oppressive practices by following a Black woman's body and a Black man's voice, and leaning into things that are new, uncomfortable, and iconoclastic. And like, that's an important point to me, because I'm frequently speaking to panels of groups of all white people who are only turning to each other for solutions, and having to say to them, if you have a problem, it's because you've only spoken to white people about this. And if the problem is how to like make things more diverse and inclusive, you have to go outside of your box. And I'm glad that you're talking to me, but I am not enough. It's actually going to take a very uncomfortable conversation and acknowledging things with many different people, and not turning to me and asking me to tell you that you're one of the good ones, that you're not racist, because actually that, if the function of employing me is to prove that you're not racist, then you are doing racist things, instead of looking at taking down racist problems. I think for many people, sometimes that means stepping down. And I've been in that situation where I've had to leave an organization because I was literally dominating everything. And it was no longer collaboration. It was the Juan Michael Porter II show, sort of like what's happening now. So I'm gonna shut up.
I don't think that's what's happening at all. I think you're doing great. But I agree. I think there's also something to be said. You know, as much as Turji said, we need to look at the youth. I think we also need to look at people who have become very, very set in their ways, because they are that older generation, and they sort of feel like they don't need to change anymore because they're sort of heading towards the end of their life, and that's how things have always been. And I think it's actually really important to say to these people, no. Just because you've done something for 60 or 70 years doesn't mean that you get to keep doing that, and really having the bravery and calling them out on that, even though sometimes, you know, it is harder to do that with people who have lived more life or who appear to have more wisdom. But I think sometimes, especially when we talk about these subjects, it's actually important to say, no, you know what, I know better, because I don't only talk to like white people in my life, but here and here and here, and look at this and look at that. And I love what Juan said earlier about magnifying people's voices that aren't heard. And I think there's a real duty to say, no, what you're doing is not okay. And then not stopping there, but actually saying, and here's something that I think you should listen to, or here's someone that I think you should watch their art, or here's someone's article that I think you should read, and just leading them to these places so that if they keep saying no, they, you know, they haven't understood something. So you need to really show them that it's just not right, and you need to call them out on it, and you need to actually say, hey, just because you've done something for a really long time doesn't mean that you get to sit back and keep doing it, because that's just no longer an option right now.
Thank you. I agree with that. So we have a comment here in the chat. I'm still navigating through this. It's from Diva Bell. She says, I've been thinking so differently about inhabiting, moving through, and communing in public spaces since COVID. And watching you both dancing in the city feels especially joyful and liberating right now. It feels like dance can offer us such valuable means of sharing and communicating in this space and feeling connected to others. She said that this is more of a comment, but she would like for us to elaborate off of that. Moving during COVID-19 in public spaces.
You know, I'm always happy to start talking, so. I was recently writing an article for an outdoor magazine publication about racism in the outdoors. And it came out that my editor wakes up every morning and dances for 20 minutes. And we really communed with that. And she's like, yeah, I'm trying to get that to be an office thing where people consider doing it, like where we have 20 minutes to move in any way that we want to. And you know, drinking a glass of water and then moving breaks through so much. It lets so many different things just flow out of you. I know for me, when I do it, there are times when I wake up and I'm carrying something from the previous day, and it lets me shake it off a little bit or come to a different place so that I'm not carrying that trauma or tension with me and everything. Because the last thing I want is to talk to a kid about something that doesn't involve them. And it's another point of reflection. So I definitely think that moving in space and dancing, even if I'm in the line at the grocery store, just letting it out is great, and not feeling embarrassed or apologizing for it.
We actually have someone who wants to ask a question live. Sean just raised his hand. So Sean, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to talk. Go ahead. I think you're muted.
Yeah, unmute yourself.
Let me unmute. Okay, there we go. Hi guys.
Hi.
It was so great to see your work, and I love how you guys are thinking about what you guys going to do to do through the future. Um, if you were seeing this work, or this work was shown to a group of I don't know what to call them, but white people. We got to find a better word. Um, what do you think their next steps should be after seeing this work? How do you think this can help white people connect and move forward through their own part that they play in systemic racism?
I'm going to start. I'm going to say that this is thought provoking. So I'm going to say it's going to start with their thought process right there. And as Taraji said earlier, it's them being honest about their place and their component and their purpose within these systems, and to break that down and reevaluate that, and to make a decision about what they're going to do with that, with their places and their purposes and their contribution to these systems. I'm just going to leave it right there because I'm pretty sure Juan is going to probably break it down.
I mean, it's a very good point, and it's such a tough question. I do think that part of it has to, besides thinking about it, is if it moved them in any way is the first thing. If like that has to be that point of like, okay, if a white person is watching this and if they were affected, to sit and think about how they were affected and why they were, and then move in that direction. Like if the effect was, I want to see more of this, then as a theater person or a patron, they can support groups, or they could call the theater and say, hey, I saw these great guys dancing. Why don't you have them? Or I noticed that when I see a building, it is all white people all year long, and I want to see something more. It doesn't have to be Black, it could be anything, but make it less of the same thing. And you know, if a white person sees it and it doesn't mean anything to them, maybe they missed the point, or maybe that didn't speak to them. But I hope that they actually come away feeling like, okay, I saw that and didn't do anything for me. Maybe I'll go and watch something else that's different, so that I am at least giving it another chance. Those are just the simple things I think of.
Yeah, I feel like invest. Like if you are provoked by anything, I feel like you should invest an amount of time and energy in the space. Me and Juan were talking about this the other day, and I just want to reignite that whole idea. If you see these people dancing in space, right, and why don't you figure out how can you donate to that space, or go into your community that you are there in a Black business, or a more diverse business, and how can you like donate in those donate time. It doesn't always have to be money. You can donate time, you can donate resources, you can, invest in those communities to where you're like, okay, I want to make a difference and I want to actually do that. Invest in those communities and those ideas without, colonizing, of course. But that's a different like frame of thought. Like, okay, it's not just like, oh, that was really dope, and then that's it. Like, no, okay, so what are you going to do with your intention after you see these things? Because you can make a choice to do something different, and now you're pros with that choice. Like, you also, as a white person in this space, have a choice with how are you going to proceed after you see something, whether you are provoked about it, whether you're provoked from it or not.
Yeah, and that, I mean, like really that point of going into neighborhoods that are different than yours, and like when we say donate, I mean, it's really just another catchphrase for how do we invest in something. Like, I know for me, when I've seen different people in the subway who are performing who really move me, I follow them. And I also, I think about what it is that I have been focusing on exclusively and how I can expand that, because this person moves me in a way. And if they move me, what else am I not being moved by only focusing on the same thing over and over again?
Okay, we have another question that was after that. It says, How do we successfully stay in the path of creativity when things feel or seem hopeless? How do we stay on the path of creativity when things feel or seem hopeless?
I'll go real quick. Well, Traj, you go. Okay, so because I work with kids who sometimes get really frustrated by things, like, it's their first time doing something and it seems really hard. I always tell them to remember that like they came here for joy and like to focus on that joy and also to acknowledge the frustration and take a step back from it before jumping back in. This is not the worst thing that has ever happened in the world, what we are living through, and it will not be the worst thing that any of us live through. That resilience though of like, okay, I'm feeling hopeless, now I'm going to do something with that, I think is the way forward. Just for myself, when I was diagnosed with HIV, I thought I was done with dancing. And I put that on myself and took it on until I finally was like, but why? Why? I feel hopeless, I feel bad. Why am I giving up the thing that gives me joy actually and that's allowing me to get through that? So when I think about that hopelessness and how I moved through it, it was by sitting with the hopelessness and then really fighting for a way forward. And this is something I see to my kids who are dancers. Never let anyone take away the joy of dancing from you, especially yourself, because it hurts so much and sometimes you feel so frustrated, but do not let yourself do it because you deserve this and you were put on this earth for joy.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off of that. So with everything that you just said, Juan, is one of our consultant and mentors, Aku Kandago, I said her last name right. She kind of, we worked through her for creating our pilot program for our summer intensive. And we were trying to think of ways because we had to re-scrap it. It was all made for in person. Like we were like, oh no, we're going to have to cancel it. We got to figure out a way to do it online. And one of the main advice that she gave us, she said, when you get to tough times like that, you have to find a way to figure out, you have to find new ways to do things. And that's when you get re-energized from that. When you reevaluate, you redesign, you reconstruct those, you revisit. You have to revisit. You go back to the basics. We back to primal ideas or primitive ideas or dated ideas, and we bring those back and we repurpose those things. Like it's those you have to investigate those things, and refresh them. Not to keep that line of words going, but I mean it's serious. It aligns that much. But I'm going to shut off because we don't have that much time, and I'm going to give it to Taraji.
Yeah, what Chris and Juan said definitely is finding the joy is keep recycling things because when I feel like when you have a tough spot wherever you are or that hopelessness, like it's something that you have to keep reinvestigating and keep going in. You have to go deeper and deeper in order to actually get to the root of the problem, because sometimes we see the implants, but it started from somewhere. And so when you have that hopelessness, you have to keep like going deeper and deeper and have that, I guess that meditation that goes along, like that deep meditation of keep going and keep going. That goes along with like the investigation. Even in our project, like we have so much footage. Like we probably had like 2 hours of footage, but it didn't start with what you saw. Like it started with just, I don't know, let me investigate here, and we could have been like, oh yeah, it is what it is. Because I mean, it's so much stuff happening in the world. Like, let's just be honest. We have the pandemic. We have this election. We have everything happening. But we made the choice to take the time out to be creative. Sometimes you just have to make that choice. You're hopeless, be creative. What can you do? You want to color? You want to write? You want to draw? You want to, now how I create now is like putting all my energy into these plants that Chris and his mom kind of like reintroduced me into, like plant life. Like you have to find something, you have to research different ways. Yeah, I don't want to prolong the point, but just constantly going in and dissecting and redissecting and analyzing so that you can find that joy. because it'll come, because we are all infinite. So the joy is there. You just have to dig through it sometimes.
Well, I think that'll wrap up our conversation. Stephanie and Daniella, I don't know if you want to say anything before we sign off.
It's just an honor to hear everything you have to say, and what a powerful offering. And this conversation was an offering as well. And I feel really honored to have heard everything you had to say. So thank you very much for your talent, your time, your creativity, your joy, your inspiration, your honesty, your authenticity. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining in this conversation. And this is day 70 of the campaign, so we have 30 more days to go. So keep in touch, keep looking what these wonderful artists are creating every day, and what peace means to them. And yeah, thank you so much for being with us on a Saturday.